So let's move on to the Browns here, coming off in 1-31 over the last 2 seasons here, but we like what they did over the offseason, as we've commented on a couple times. Just kind of quick introduction. What do we think of how they've kind of set themselves up here? Should we expect moderate improvement, significant improvement, staying the same? What are we expecting out of the Browns?
I think James should kick us off.
Let's go, James.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
Oh, man.
Take
All right.
it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, I have never been an optimistic Browns fan because every time I tried that in the past, it didn't work out so well, guys. And so it's difficult for me because while I really like a lot of the moves that they did in the offseason, I like bringing in Todd Haley first off. I love bringing in some of the signings with Tyrod Taylor. I think he's a startable, quarterback in this league. Jarvis Landry, obviously that move was great. I really liked some of the pieces that they picked up in the draft, like Nick Chubb. Fixing parts of that offensive line, I think is going to be crucial. But honestly, man, I can't get behind Hugh Jackson. This is the main problem for me is I wouldn't have had a problem as much with the Baker Mayfield pick if it wasn't for the fact that Hugh Jackson is still there. So my grand scheme of things, I really like what the Browns have done in the offseason, but the one glaring weakness was they didn't get a new head coach.
Yeah, agreed. He and Marvin Lewis should have both been fired, which we'll get to them momentarily.
If they could have drafted a head coach at 101, I think they would have.
That would have been a better move. And then do quarterback at 104.
I love Baker Mayfield, but it would have been a new coach.
All right. Well, let's get into Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield then. Kicking it off with Taylor. He was 25th in points per game last year, which is the lowest he'd had in the previous 3 seasons. Weapons were terrible, though, in Buffalo. He comes in, gets an immediate upgrade here with the Browns. For me, he comes in at 27th in my rankings, but that's strictly because I don't think he finishes the whole season. His weekly ranking for me will be higher than that. So if you want to grab somebody and stream them, you would have my endorsement on that. How do you guys feel?
I've got him at 24th, so I'm about there with you. I like Tyrod Taylor. I like Tyrod Taylor with these weapons. We saw what he could do when he had the bare minimum of Sammy Watkins and Charles Clay in Buffalo. He made himself a quarterback 1. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's got the upside with his legs. I don't know how long he's a starter, though, with Baker Mayfield there. I think Baker Mayfield and his game style is, one, it's wishful thinking because I think it's the best for fantasy and getting multiple pieces involved. But 2, I just ultimately think it's their best option to win. I like Tyrod Taylor. I think he's a great bridge quarterback. I think that he at least keeps them competitive enough to win games. We saw it in Buffalo. I don't know how long he holds off Mayfield, though.
If Mayfield wasn't the 101, I think he could have, but Tyrod's got an uphill climb. If he struggles at all, if the Browns struggle at all, Tyrod has to be above and beyond. He has to be almost at Alex Smith level, I think, to keep away the Baker Mayfield from management, from the fans. I think he's going to get on. At what point is who knows, but just as Nick said, I think he's a weekly streamer each week just because he's safe, just because he gets you the rushing yards, and the rushing touchdowns every now and then, and he's smart with the football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you guys. I think I have Tyrod Taylor ranked 20th, and for the same reasons you guys said, I don't know how long he can hold off Baker Mayfield. It really depends on, I think, the record of this team and the direction that they're heading in. But I will say this. It's really interesting looking back at the offseason when the Browns pick up Tyrod Taylor. That should have been, honestly, at least in my eyes, that should have been a really big hint as to what they were thinking come draft day, because Tyrod Taylor is an excellent bridge quarterback for Baker Mayfield. They won't have to really do much differently offensively. Baker Mayfield can throw on the run. That's what Tyrod does. He can extend plays. I feel like they're similar in a sense. And so I think when you kind of look back at it, it's really interesting seeing that they took Tyrod Taylor. It kind of gave us a window into what they were thinking into the draft. And I don't think any of us really at least I didn't pick up on it, even as a Browns fan, until pretty much draft day when it was kind of leaked that, yeah, it looks like it's going to be Baker Mayfield here. But, just an interesting observation. And I think you guys are right. And I echo your sentiments on that quarterback situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was necessarily that they grabbed Taylor because they were thinking Mayfield at that point. I think it was Taylor was kind of what they want this offense to look like. And then as they started evaluating Mayfield and deciding they liked him, they thought he was also a good fit. So I'm not sure if that was necessarily tipping the hand, but we had an idea of what they wanted this offense to do.
It worked out really well.
Yeah, it did.
Both fit the offense great.
They almost traded for Nick Foles. There is that rumor where they're going to give it the 201 or pick 33 for him. So,
but thank God they screwed up the AJ McCarron trade.
Yeah, right. And thank God Philly said no.
Yep. So that's enough about Taylor. If Mayfield does get in, which we expect he probably will at some point based on our rankings, Where would he be in your weekly streamer rankings with these weapons?
I can't say no. There's just so much that, I mean, it depends when. It depends on who's hurt, who's not
Mayfield
hurt.
gets to start week 1.
Mayfield
Okay.
starts week 1.
I think low end streamer status until we see more.
So QB 18 to 20.
Sure. If not a little bit lower.
No, that's where I'd put him. That's about where I had Trubisky running at last year, and I think that, similar throwing mobile quarterbacks that ran primarily shotgun and offense that were extremely accurate. Yeah, I'd have him about there too.
With
Just
better
rookie
weapons,
growing
though.
pains, but with better weapons, yes.
I'm looking at the Browns schedule. It's daunting to start out. You get
It's brutal. Yeah.
You get Pittsburgh in week 1. You get at New Orleans week 2. You get the Jets at home in week 3. Then you get at the Raiders week 4. Ravens and Chargers 5 and 6 at home, and then you get at Tampa Bay and at Pittsburgh week 7 and 8. I mean, Tyrod could be benched at any point.
I mean, I don't
outside
hate
of week 4.
I don't hate those Pittsburgh matchups, and I don't hate the Jets and Raiders. So there's a couple good matchups there.
There are.
I'm saying just for
I
when
think they may-
Tyrod could get pulled.
Oh, from them losing?
Just that's the only reason I brought that up. It's not because of the games in terms of fantasy, but just when Tyrod could get pulled.
Yeah, after 2 losses to the Steelers, I could see that happening.
Shit, after if they lose to
They're
Oakland and
not
Ravens
losing to the Steelers twice. They're going to beat them once.
at home week 1.
Sticking
Let's
to
go,
that.
baby.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to the running back trio of Carlos Hyde, Nick Chubb, and Duke Johnson, who just got his tasty extension.
Yikes.
Who do you like the best for fantasy
All right,
purposes?
so
Duke Johnson, because I know his role.
I'll give you guys their ADP right now. Hyde is 701, Johnson's 807, and Chubb is 902.
At that price, Johnson all day.
Johnson, like, he's the safest of the 3. You know his role. He just got paid. He's not going to see RB1 type of numbers. He's not going to see the 94 targets again, but he's fantastic at what he does. He was 4th in juke rate at 32.7%, 3rd in yards per touch at 6.7, and he was 4th in receptions and 3rd in receiving yards. So that's his role, and that's what he's going to continue doing very well.
Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of agree with you guys. I think after this contract extension, now it's really interesting because before this contract extension, Duke Johnson would have been 3rd for me. I would have really felt like he was the guy on the outside looking in, and they really wouldn't utilize him very much, knowing that he probably wasn't going to be back. But no, I think you guys are right. Now that I know that he's going to be part of their future, I think they plan on utilizing him a lot in the passing game, and I think we've seen that in the Todd Haley run offense. That's a pretty valuable role.
Yep. And then I think I would have it Johnson, Chubb, Hyde.
Yep.
Especially at the price.
I'm not
Yeah.
touching Hyde at all this year.
I think if the price was even between Chubb and Hyde, I'd probably take Hyde, but it'd be close. But if I have to pay 2 rounds cheaper,
I
to
do
get
expect
Chubb,
Hyde to keep falling. I do expect Hyde to fall, though. Like even after this contract extension, after the Nick Chubb hype, continues to rise through the OTAs and training camp, I expect it to be more evened out towards.
yeah.
August.
If they flip and Hyde's going in the 9th round, then I'll be intrigued.
Yeah, a little bit, not much,
Not a lot, a little bit.
a little bit.
All right, enough about the running game, which I think is not going to be super fantasy relevant this year. Receiving game, Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon leading the billing. Where do you got those 2 ranked in your initial or way too early rankings in Hopper's case?
So go ahead, Dan. I got to look.
Landry's my 20th. Gordon's my 28th. It's been no, there's no hiding. I'm not super high on Josh Gordon. I love Jarvis Landry more. I like Landry more in this offense. There's been hype about him lining up as an outside receiver, giving him more touches. When you pay a guy top 5 receiver bill in the league, you're going to have to use him more than just out of the slot. And Landry, that's fantastic for him. He should have a higher target depth, which means more big plays. He's third in the league in yak, and he had 9 touchdowns. I don't think that's going to be the case this year, but I think given this offense and the potential for red zone work, you could see similar to 6 to 7 to 8 touchdowns.
I've got Landry at 14. That will likely fade a little bit just based on target volume after I looked at a little bit more what I looked at today. I've got Gordon at 39. That'll also, that may stay close. And here's the reason
I love it. I do.
I did not expect to be the highest on Gordon.
So, looking at Tyrod Taylor, who I have to assume is a starter right now, and I have to assume that even if Mayfield starts, they'll protect him. So, with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, 96 is the most targets that any wide receiver has gotten. That was Sammy Watkins. Landry is typically feasted off of volume, off 120, 130 targets. He's not going to get that. My other issue with Josh Gordon is just that Tyrod Taylor doesn't support multiple wide receivers. The tight end was the leading target getter, in his tenure at Buffalo, leading target getters, wide receiver twice, tight end once, running back once. And his tight end was never worse than second in targets. I don't have a lot of faith in the second wide receiver in this offense, especially Tyrod as a starter. And to me, that is Josh Gordon. Jarvis Landry is more of a sure thing, safe bet, and they went out and paid him.
All right.
And then you look at their ADP. I'm sorry, just before you guys go. Gordon's 402, Landry's 507. Give me Landry all day.
Oh, Landry all day if Gordon's
yeah.
going that high.
Sorry.
And that's
You
in
guys can go.
PPR?
Yes. That's what I said. I was
jeez.
like, I had to go and check. I'm like, did I click standard by accident? No, it says PPR. I mean, people fucking love Josh Gordon to a point where you're seeing articles now saying sell Josh Gordon. We've been saying sell Josh Gordon for a long time now.
I mean, yeah, and the issue with drafting him in the fourth is you never know if you can trust him all season, too.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to be that guy.
Yes, please.
I'm going to be that guy because I have Josh Gordon ranked 21st in my rankings, and I have Jarvis Landry ranked 29th. And I definitely, some of the arguments you guys make are very interesting, and I'm going to have to go back and kind of look at target share and seeing how some of these, Tyrod hasn't had a wide receiver too that's been that valuable, and I didn't really know that when I did my rankings. However, I will say this, the one thing that I think Tyrod does really well is extend plays and go deep. And I feel like that is going to benefit Josh Gordon way more than Jarvis Landry. I think Jarvis Landry is kind of that intermediate guy who's going to get open over the middle. He's going to win with route running. He's not going to win with speed more times than not. Josh Gordon is built to do that. And so I feel like with the improvisational skills or the improvising skills that Tyrod Taylor has, I think it's going to benefit Josh Gordon. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I really feel like maybe Josh Gordon doesn't get the amount of receptions Jarvis Landry does, but I feel like the big plays are going to be there enough to make up for that. It's hard to rely on that week to week, and so that's why I wouldn't rely on Josh Gordon as anything more than a back end wide receiver too. But I'll take Gordon over Landry. Not at that. I mean, I don't think I'm taking him in the fourth round, but I'm probably taking him somewhere in the fifth. So yeah, I guess I'll be the naysayer there, and I'll take Gordon over Landry, but you guys definitely bring up some good points. Maybe something for me to look into a little bit more.
I kind of split the difference. I got Landry at 20 and Gordon at 25, so I'm kind of in the middle on both of them.
I mean, I wouldn't touch either of them before the fifth round.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be, like, the targets are going to be spread between the both of them. I think Landry does nudge them just because of, depends how they want to use them, but I think Landry does nudge Gordon a bit in targets.
All right. Moving on to the third and fourth fiddle on this team, Corey Coleman and Antonio Callaway. Any thoughts on them?
If Coleman gets traded, let's go back to this question.
We will discuss that if it happens.
I think he's blocked right now, not just behind Gordon and Landry, but behind Njoku and potentially Duke Johnson, which I don't really know why, because Coleman's done pretty well when he's been healthy for Cleveland, but Cleveland just doesn't want him there. They're trying to move in. They're trying to move him. They tried to move him on draft day. They've been trying to move him all off season. So at this point, I think he's blocked from any real fantasy relevance.
There's three options that I want to own on this team. They're Jarvis Landry, Duke Johnson, and David Njoku. And that's it.
All right.
I don't want Gordon. I think Njoku is the second target getter.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of, and I know we haven't gotten the tight end yet, but I think we're all kind of
It's a good transition.
to talk about Njoku because I think the receivers 3 and 4 are even less appealing than obviously the top two, and I don't know that any of us are all that high in the top two, to be honest. Maybe I guess there is some Landry love out there, but I don't know that anyone thinks there's a wide receiver 1 on this team.
No, I definitely. I mean,
No.
with Taylor, there's just not going to be enough passing volume there.
No.
All right, let's move on to Njoku.
Njoku.
So Charles Clay's career low with Tyrod is 74 targets while missing games. It was 5.7 per game. That volume plus Tyrod Taylor being more accurate, I mean, that's 5.7 a game, I think works out to roughly 92 targets for. I mean, there's going to be another tight end that gets some of those or some targets, but I mean, so 75 to 80 targets for Njoku is reasonable. And I mean, that puts him at 500 plus yards plus 5-6 touchdowns given his size.
Which makes you back in tight end one.
which makes
Yep.
you a back end tight end one. Exactly.
Which is where I have him ranked.
So, and Njoku's and his current ADP, by the way, 1307.
Sorry.
all day.
I didn't know if you wrote him down. I thought you were asking.
Yep.
I was getting excited.
Nope. All day. I will take him in the 13th round all day.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite late round flyers for tight ends, which I agree you should be doing this year. Don't reach on the top 8, which I think will all be reached on.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's if one of the top guys slides, that or just wait and grab 2 and try to hope you get 1.
Speaking to the point, he has Tyrod loves using his tight ends. Tyrod gets benched. Brandon Baker Mayfield, who was his leading receiver last year.
Mark Andrews,
a tight end. So they both like using their tight ends. And Njoku is ridiculously athletic, which is going to build very well in the red zone and on big plays. And I expect the Browns to see more red zone opportunities than last year. I don't know what it was, but I expect it to be higher.
Yeah, no, I agree. And first off, a couple points here. First of all, you guys saying Njoku is fantastic, that I don't have to correct anyone. So
I think I learned from your guys' show how to say his name.
Soda vodka. Swoboda.
Yeah, that's right.
is-
Soda vodka.
is who taught me.
yeah, Svoboda's great, good guy. Njoku is I agree. I could not agree more with the fact that I'm waiting on tight end this year. The top guys are pretty risky. I mean, I've got concerned about those. So getting a guy like Njoku that late in the draft, absolutely, sign me up. I'll take him, and I'll take a flyer on another late guy, and just hope that between the two, I have one startable tight end. But getting back to Njoku a little bit, this offense isn't. I mean, they're not opposed to throwing the ball to the tight end, especially Big Ben's first couple years in this system. They used Heath Miller a ton in this system his first few years. So I think that this is something that, Tyrod can actually use to use that security blanket in this offense. I think Njoku definitely gets a lot of targets.
Yeah, and not to hit on Heath Miller, but Njoku is significantly more talented.
So is Vance McDonald. So
I've been looking to pair Njoku with guys like
Tyler
Ebron, ASJ, Eifert, Kittle, guys who I can grab super late and just hope one of them hits.
You draft one, you pick one up afterwards.
Yep.
All right, let's hit the Bengals. Actually, thoughts on record for the Browns before we hit the Bengals?
Oh man.
I said 5-11 just because it's hard to have faith.
Does that
in
get
them.
Hugh Jackson fired?
Yeah, it
I
does.
think he gets fired after the first few weeks. I think after they go 1-5, 1-6.
And Todd Haley's interim.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I really want them to kind of go 5-11 so he gets fired, and that makes me think they're going to go 8-8 and he's going to stay on, which is what I have them pegged for, because it just seems like that's as a Browns fan, that's going to happen. So I kind of hope you guys are right. How bad is that?
And then they pull off his mask and it's Jeff Fisher.
I was going to say, I was just about to ask who was
gonna
the
say
8-8 quarterback. That's right. It's Jeff Fisher. I knew it the whole time. I would have gotten away with it. Wasn't for you pesky kids.
It wasn't for that dang Erie Lake Erie.
Yeah, and I think sadly that if they finish like in that 7-9, 8-8 range, it'll be fighting for second place in this division.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
It's going to be gross.
All right.